And we're live. Welcome to yet another edition of PCS Q&A, Coronavirus. I'm your host, MJ Boyce, and I'm the Director of Community Outreach at PCS Grades. And of course, as always, we have our lovely Megan Harless, our resident PCS Reform Advocate and MILF Spouse BA. Anyway, so today we do not have any special guests because Megan is our special guest. As our resident PCS Reform Advocate, she has learned a lot through her time, the ins and outs, hearing from families, and she's garnered a lot of tips, tricks, hacks to save both time and money on the back end of your PCS. Now, PCS season is going to look a ton different than it usually does, obviously, thanks COVID. So with the stop move and with the lifting of it and with the list of green light installations, Megan's going to go ahead and go over some of that and some of those DoD updates in just a second. But before she does, I'm going to go ahead and give you our regular housekeeping items plus one big surprise. Here we go. First and foremost, we have subject matter experts on here, like Megan, who is my ride or die when it comes to this webinar. We are going to take your questions. We're going to answer your questions. If we don't know the answer, we know who does. And if we don't know either of those things, we're going to take your question for action, and we're going to get that for you at a later date. That being said, there will be specific situations that you're in that might be service specific, that might be just so minute and situational that we wouldn't be able to answer those questions. So for those types of situations, there are two very important resources. The end-all, be-all, accurate, reliable resources will forever and always be your local chain of command and your local transportation office. Those are the people who know you. Those are the people who are dealing with your stuff. Those are the people who can help you because they are decision makers. Last thing, least on the housekeeping items, we are flattening the curve, people. We are doing our part. We are doing everything that we can, which is why the stop move happened. You're doing your part, and I'm proud of you. But when we flatten that curve, we're flattening Murphy with it. I'm serious. That's why we're doing these things. Murphy, we're coming for you. Watch out. And then the last thing before I hand it over to Megan is that you may have seen something in our promo about a $100 gift card. So as we're going through, if you'd like to win this $100 gift card, because we're going to do the names, your entry to win will be either a tip or a comment related to the pre-move packing or how to save time or money. You want to go ahead and throw that in the comment section. And or if you decide to ask questions, Megan has come with a slew of information that's going to save you hundreds of dollars and days, not hours, days worth of unpacking on the back end, as well as many headaches. So we don't need no Tylenol. But if you want to be entered to win for that $100 gift card, which we're going to be announcing the winner at the end, go ahead and put your name in the comment box below. Go ahead and ask her question, provide us a tip that's relevant to whatever she's saying. And by the way, the more questions you ask and the more tips you give, the more entries your name will have. So you want to up your chances, go ahead and engage with us. Also, any resources that we mentioned, we're going to go ahead and drop the links. So we're not going to leave you empty-handed in this, no matter what. So Megan, I'm going to hand it over to you for those DoD updates.
Hello, everybody. So the big news that we have that we've all been patiently waiting for is that green light list. The big list. It has, I believe, 39 states on it and then 5 host nations on there. The host nations, Bahrain, Belgium, Germany, Japan, and the UK. We're not going to go through the states. We're going to get this posted in the comments for you. But so those locations are what's considered green light. They are open for PCSing. Now the deal with it is though, is that each installation, each location is still up to the local commander as to whether that location, that base is open or not. So exception to policies are still needed, and those the list of locations is supposed to be coming out soon. It's supposed to be coming out through each of the various different services. I know the Marine Corps put out their guidance, their order on it earlier today. The Army is expected to have theirs next week, but as those come out, we'll get them posted below. So that's really the only big update I have for you is that green list is out of the locations. So now we're waiting on like the next green list of all the individual installations and locations. MJ?
Awesome. So those are some great updates. Obviously, just like Megan said, we're going to go ahead and throw those states /countries /memos /links all up in the comments for you to take with you. If you're catching this on the replay, also give a shout out at the bottom. We know a lot of our Oconus fans like to watch the replay because nobody wants to be up 3 o'clock in the morning. Don't blame you. So let's just go ahead and dive right in. Now, this isn't just for those who are looking to do a personally procured move or a PPM, formerly known as Diddy. This is also for those who are doing a military move. So either way, in terms of prepping your house, this is a pay now, pay later system. You can pay on the front end, or you can pay on the back end. So we're going to start with time savers. Megan, we hear a lot about folks who take time to pre-pack their home. So why is pre-packing so important, and how is it even beneficial if someone's wanting to save time during their move?
So pre-packing really does a number of things. So as far as it being beneficial, it helps keep you organized. It'll help you keep you organized when you're setting up your home, preparing it to move, and it keeps you organized when you're going to unpack. When you're unpacking, the way that it saves you time is when you're unpacking, if you know that you've pre-packed things, and we're going to talk about some of those pre-packing tips here in a minute. But as you are unpacking, say you use the flex totes for your clothing. You easily open that box, you pull out the flex totes, you can toss the flex totes to the side, and you can get that box out of your home. You can open up your wardrobe boxes, quickly hang the things in your closet. Because you've pre-packed them, you've zip tied the hangers, you can get those boxes out of your home. So when you're unpacking, you save a lot of time because you don't have to go through the paper and individually unwrap every little paper clip that you find, every little piece of Lego, every little toy, because you took the time beforehand to put those things into bags and make it easier to move. It's always much easier to open the box, pull out the bags, get the boxes out of your home, and you can, go through later and organize the things out of the bags. So a lot of pre-packing, it really saves you time on the back end, on the delivery end, once you make it to your home. And then pre-packing, it just kind of helps make the time smoother. When you're packing, instead of having all those packers like touching every little thing, all they have to do is pick up that tote, drop it in the box, pick up that 2-gallon size bag of Legos, put it in the box. They're not having to individually wrap things as much. So it saves some time at the beginning because, your packing days go a little bit smoother, but it saves a lot of time on the back end once you arrive. Makes unpacking much, much easier.
Now, didn't it used to be you couldn't pre-pack your stuff? It used to be you couldn't.
So it's iffy. So you could always pre-pack. So pre-pack, like we said, if you take your steak knife block and you wrap it with saran wrap so your knives don't fall out, that was fine. What they used to not really allow is packing boxes yourself. It used to be if you packed a box yourself, it was marked as packed by owner on your inventory, and then the company wasn't liable for it. Under the new claim liability rules, that is no longer allowed. So even if you pack it yourself, because that company takes possession of it, they're still liable for it now.
And when did that take effect?
Last year, actually.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So note. Okay. All right. So give me your best pre-packing tips that help save time on either end of the process. And as a bonus question, if you could tell us or estimate just how much time that would save just to get, because I'm a procrastinator. I'm not going to lie. I should have watched this years ago. If I'm just I'll do it, I'll get to it, I'll just throw it in the box, that's totally fine. Mm-hmm. How much time could I have saved?
So for me, I estimate it around, you could probably save a couple of days of time. Of course, you're going to invest time up front because you're spending the time pre-packing, you're spending that time organizing. But like I said before, it's on the back end, on your delivery is when you really save that time. So some of my best tips that I like to use Ziploc flex totes. I have an empty one here. It's going to be kind of weird to show y'all. But it's basically
I love those. And
everything. When you're not using it, they just fold up and you can just toss it into a suitcase until your next move. But the flex totes are great if you have folded clothing. So this is an extra large size. So if you have folded dress or clothing, this works great for it. Keeps everything nice, neat, organized, clean. You don't have sticky, dirty hands touching all of your stuff. There's another size. It's called the jumbo size that I use for my linens, my towels, my blankets. And the great thing about those is that they fit directly into the boxes that the packers use. So nothing's getting crashed, nothing's getting shoved in weird. But then when you're at delivery, like I said, that box that says close, you open the box, you pull that tote out, you toss it on the floor, and you let the moving company take those boxes with them. Some other quick tips that I love to use is I love prepping my closet. So we all have those hanging clothes in our closet. We all know the big wardrobe boxes. Half that stuff ends up off the hanger in the bottom of the box. You're half bent over it trying to pull stuff out. So I like to trash bag my clothes. A lot of people go out and buy garment bags, but I like being cheap and saving money. So I use trash bags because I'll take them off and I'll use them again. But you take a trash bag and you pull from the bottom up, tie them around the hanger piece, and you got your clothes all together and organized. Take it a step further. If you get colored zip ties, and you can, kind of color code your closet as to your dresses, your winter clothes, your summer clothes. When you pull it out of the box, you have an instant closet. You just cut the ties, pull the bags off, and your closet's ready to go. And again, that's saving so much time on the back end for delivery that you're not having to rehang a bunch of stuff. You're not having to dig it out. Couple other things, our stuffed animals. Every kid has a zoo.
A million. It's those claw machines. Every fall, even to this day, my kids are 18 and 21. They still.
And every holiday, you feel like your child needs another stuffed animal. Like my daughter just turned 7, and for her birthday, she wanted a stuffed animal in a blanket. Like she's a child of comfort items. She has enough stuffed animals, but that's what she wanted. So we have a million of them. Throw those in a trash bag. Let them get packed into a big box. When you unpack, you just tear the box open, pull the bag out, let your child put the stuffed animals away later, but you get they're organized in the trash bag. You can shove into the corner until a certain time, but you get that box out of your way. Another thing, so we talked about the steak knife blocks. I don't know about anybody else, but we've had so many moves where you go to open that box and you are unwrapping paper and you're not sure what you're unwrapping. And next thing you know, you got knives falling out all over the floor. Your silverware is falling out all over the floor. So I use either press and seal or I use saran wrap, and I just wrap those things. It keeps those knives in the block and also keeps things clean. So you don't have to rewash that silverware right away when you arrive at your next location. Another thing is Ziploc bags, either the 1 gallon or the 2 gallon bags. You can take your junk drawer, bag it up. Your office supplies, bag it up. Little toys, bag it up. The worst thing in the world as a parent with little toys is opening that box and you think you've gotten all the toys out, and then you go to toss that box and you're hearing more toys rattle around that have gone underneath the little flaps of the boxes. So I would always try to bag all that little stuff. And then the last thing, my big thing, that I do that kind of helps, again, on everything that I talk about really helps more on the back end. But one of the things that a lot of people struggle with is how their boxes are labeled. A lot of times you don't know what is said on the box, or it just says closet items instead of saying, like books and boots and hats and gloves or whatever. So I get a little, I don't know what you want to call it. I don't know. I get a little more organized.
Okay, you have OCD tendencies, which is not a bad thing to have during a PCS.
That's what it is. Yeah. So I put labels on all of our doors, on all of our rooms that says this right here. So our last name spelled correctly, so every packer knows how to spell our last name.
Pause, Stacy. You see how it says right there? I'm just telling. So okay. So sorry. Inside joke had to be there.
I'm like, what are you talking about, girl? No, so our last name, we had one move where I walked around our house, looking at our boxes. Our last name was spelled about 4 different ways. And so, stuff going in and out of storage, things are bound to go off. So I do this so people know how to spell our last name. What I want those boxes labeled as. So for my boys, I'll have it labeled as boys room 1, boys room 2. It goes in birth order. They understand it. And then I have some acceptable room labels for the items in that room. So like dolls, I mean, obviously for my girls' room, kids' books, stuffed animals, girls' clothing, girls' bedding, girls' room decor. So that way they kind of know exactly what they can label it as, and they're not writing miscellaneous or they're not writing girl stuff. So that way if a box goes missing, I know that it's a box of stuffed animals, and I can, try to value that out as I need to. But
Okay, let me just ask you. I know it's just kind of an aside, but I'm just saying the amount of money spent in those claw machines, should that count?
yeah, I mean, absolutely, absolutely.
Just saying.
Right.
Just saying.
A lot of quarters get racked up in there.
Okay, I'm gonna while we're still on this topic. So just to let everybody know, we will get to your questions. Most of them we'll get to towards the end, but there's a couple here that are relevant to what we're talking about right now. So we'll start with Anna. Shout out, Anna. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining us. So if I'm understanding correctly, if I pack something, they, meaning the movers, are still liable for it, correct?
Correct. And I will drop the link for the claim liability business rules in the comments when we get done here. I'll have to look it up and I'll drop it down there for you. But if they take possession of it, they are responsible for it regardless of who packed it, because the onus is on them to open that box and to make sure that it was packed properly. So if they take possession of it, they're responsible for it.
Word. And then one from Samantha. Hey, Samantha, how's it going? How far ahead of time do you start prepacking?
It depends on what's going on. I know that's not a good answer. Maybe 2 to 4 weeks. And some things I'll obviously do sooner than other things. Like I'm not going to wrap my silverware up 4 weeks before moving. But like our winter clothes that are hanging in our closet that we're not wearing because they're out of season or for whatever reason, I'll go ahead and bag those up. Stuffed animals, I may go ahead and bag up. The ones that my daughter's not sleeping with on her bed, I'll bag up. Some of the office stuff I'm not using, some of the little toys that aren't being played with, we'll go ahead and start bagging those types of things up and everything. But usually about 2 to 4 weeks, depending on what's going on and what season it is.
Okay. Love it. And these are great questions, by the way. All these questions and comments that we're getting, each of you for each question or comment and tip, and shout out to Megan because we love her, is entered in to win for that gift card. But don't just put smiley faces after smiley faces. Even though we love smiley faces, that doesn't always count. All right. Delivery time could be a total circus. Like we all know that. Delivery time is a flippin' circus. So how would you prep your home, or like what do you do that helps ensure that delivery is going to be quick and smooth in a way that like makes sure that it doesn't go into late hours of the night, you got screaming kids who are pissed off because they can't go to bed because there's people in their house and in their life, and something like that it allows time for unpacking, get there. So like how do you make sure?
Okay, so you remember my signs I had on the doors during the packing phase? I have signs that go on my doors during the delivery phase, and they look like this. So room labels, like I have a whole bag of them, and I'll drop a link for them down there. But like each room, like bedroom number 3, that's my daughter. Then we have ones that say kitchen. Basically, every room you have, this system has a label for it. So after they pack all of the boxes, I go around and I put our stamp on it with our contact info, and then I put a room label on it. So then that way at delivery, they're able to match a box that has the pink bedroom number 3 sticker to the door that has the pink bedroom number 3 sticker. And then I also list what some of the furniture is that goes in that room. So that way I'm not having to be in the house and answer a million questions in direct traffic, every which way direction, hoping I didn't just send a wrong box into the wrong room. So I definitely use those room labels and I put those signs on those doors. That saves you a lot of time of trying to direct that traffic. So since you're no longer having to direct that traffic because they generally know now, like Every box with the pink sticker goes into the room with it, and every, the white dresser goes into that room because the sign says it. You have more time to double check your inventory and to check off numbers as it's coming out of the truck. There's a lot of concern when checking off those numbers on your inventory. And there's a lot of different ways you can do it. Some people, they will spread out on a counter all of their inventory sheets, and they'll just, tell people, hold up a minute, go down line by line, check the number off. Some people have what's called the bingo board, which is basically a sheet of paper that has numbers from 1 to 500 on it. And you just kind of bingo check it off as they call off the number. A system that I like that kind of works for my family is I have a clipboard, and I just write down numbers as they call it off. Every so often, they will take a break, or I'll ask them to take a break for a minute, and I'll usually have my husband go through our inventory forms and check off those numbers then and cross them off of my clipboard. That way we can get them checked off, and that way at the end of the day, we know if something's missing or not. So that's a system that works best for us. So not having to navigate or direct traffic with where boxes are going, you have more time to ensure that you are checking off every number of your inventory as it's coming off of the truck. And then another big thing is unpacking on delivery day, letting that company take as much of those boxes with them as possible, so you're not having to try to figure out where to take them to. So when they're taking those breaks and my husband is reconciling my clipboard number list with our inventory form, I'm opening boxes. Our wardrobe boxes, like I said, I rip them open, and because I have them zip tied, I have them bagged, I pull them out quickly, hang them up, get those big boxes out of the way. The boxes labeled closed because I know they're all in those flex totes. I rip those boxes open, drop the flex totes in the corner, get those boxes out. Same stuffed animals and whatnot. So that way at the end of the day, when we have, what are we doing? I can focus on getting my high value items opened to ensure that those all arrive before I sign off on that form. I can ask them to help unpack some of my kitchen so we can be able to start cooking and living in our home again. But yeah, so unpack during the breaks, use a inventory checkoff system that works for you, and then have those signs, use those room labels so you're not having to direct traffic so much. It will save you a lot of time, and you'll be able to get your house set up a lot quicker than just waiting until everything is done.
That makes total sense. Here's a really good question, and actually I was just totally going to say this myself. So what do you do with toddler and babies when movers are bringing things in? So I'm just going to go ahead and say, like, when I moved, seems like every time I've moved, okay, there's my husband and there's myself, and we're trying to follow all these people moving stuff here, there, and everywhere. Would have had your tips. That would have been pretty awesome, but I didn't. And I'm trying to also keep track of my children until I'm like, okay, get out, which at that, they were old enough. I wouldn't say that to my babies or toddlers. I could say that to the teens. But, when you move to a new place, you don't know, whatever. What do you do, like, in situations like that?
So that, great question, and it's a tough situation to be in.
Thank you, Lizzy.
Yes, we've been in that position a lot of times. So in those cases, during our first couple of moves, where we were that family with a couple of kids, what we did is that when we moved, we had a few like outdoor type of toys that they could play with. If we had, toddler where they could handle being in a backyard for a moment, or playing in the grass in the front yard where I could see them, letting them play with those toys and kind of burn some energy. Babies, depending on age, depending on their temperament, were my baby, and just kind of made them deal with me holding a clipboard and holding, the pen when I wasn't using it, but I try to like have some toys so my kids could be able to play a little bit while we were doing things. It's definitely a very hard, difficult situation. Now that my kids are older, we do a little bit of dropping them off with grandparents, and letting grandparents have them for a week or two, sometimes a little bit longer because they want to keep their grandbabies more. But we do a little bit dropping them off and letting our kids be there with the grandparents, and me and my husband getting our house set up. And then, grandparents bring the kids back to us. I know not everybody has that ability to do that, but I would just say depending on their ages, have some toys that they can maybe, play with in the front yard or play with in the driveway, some sidewalk chalk or something that they can do. Another thing that I have seen and that we have done as well, you can get like a little video projector from Amazon, and you can connect it to your phone and you can like project a movie from your phone onto like the side of a wall or onto the side of your house. If they've got a favorite movie and they can sit there for a little bit and watch that. I know I hate saying like use your electronics to distract your kids, but
oh no, you know what? I've been doing that for years, and sometimes it's absolutely relevant. I swear that's why they were invented, because sometimes that we have no choice. Okay, it's dude, we're humans and we got to do what we got to do. And if there's distraction,
times where it was honey, watch Cars 2 on the iPad again, so I can make sure your bed is being set up. It's a tough situation to be in, but you try to utilize toys, electronics if you need to. See if you can make a friend before you arrive. Our military is a small community, so if you're able to get into the spouses group before you arrive, you may be surprised by somebody that you may know that lives near you and might be able to come over and lend an extra hand to kind of help in those situations.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny, and I think we've talked about this before. Military world is small. We all know that, right? Like literally Kevin Bacon has nothing on the milspouse world because his 6 degrees of separation is like, no, we got 2. You go to anybody's Facebook profile that's in any way, shape, or form affiliated with the military, you're going to find a mutual friend in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Every duty station, I've been very lucky to have that. Okay, so, and again, everybody, I'm loving these questions. I'm loving these comments. I promise you we're getting to them. We're going to start going down the money hole. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, let's talk some money. So there's a lot of folks that are, this is a huge concern for every military family. It's the financial burden of a PCS, okay? And so what are some money-saving prepping tips that can help other families as they're preparing to move? And again, bonus points if you can tell me kind of like range the amount saved.
Probably a lot of money, several $100s. And it depends on how you go about doing it. So as long as like money saving tips, I think we all play the game. Hopefully I'm speaking freely for most of us. We all play the game of let's purge our house and get under our weight allotment. We do that a lot where we know we're moving come January, come in the summer. So starting in January, I'm just like, honey, what can we get rid of in this house? Like, what do we not need anymore? What, kids, go try on your clothes. Let's get rid of what doesn't fit. Find me 10 toys you don't play with anymore. So first, I always suggest purge your home. If it no longer serves a purpose, if you haven't used it at that duty station or within the last 2 years, get rid of it. Unless it's like a sentimental item and you want to keep it, like that's okay. But like I had a blender I didn't use for like 3 years. I finally got rid of it. We had some other stuff that just sat in boxes in our garage and we open them and we're just like, oh, we'll put those away later. Never did. And it's just like, I really don't need this stuff anymore. Get rid of it. Number one, you can have your garage sale. You can make some extra cash off of that. Kids having a lemonade stand at the end of the garage sale brings more people to your garage sale. Kind of discovered that a couple of years ago. But purge your home, have a garage sale, use that money as part of your PCS fund. Moving is expensive, and a lot of the costs we pay up front and get reimbursed on the back end. Yes, you can use your government travel card for some things. Yes, you can apply for advanced DLA to help cover some costs, but it's still expensive. So any money you can save beforehand, the better it is on your budget. So have that garage sale, start a PCS savings fund. I know people, I always say once you get orders and once you know you're moving, start saving money. I know people that just kind of keep a rolling savings account going that, after they PCS and they get stuff paid off and they're back on track with their budget, they just start adding a little bit of money each month because they know they're going to need it at some point. The good news is that when you retire, you have a fund you can go take a vacation with. But start that PCS fund and just add a little bit of money to it every now and then so that way you have some cash flow when it comes time. a big thing that gets a lot of people when moving that we've kind of have come to expect it because of how the process has gone, but nobody wishes for it, is the claims process. We all expect, that we'll probably have some sort of claim to have to file that we're probably not going to get full replacement value. We'll probably have to come out of pocket to replace something or fix something ourselves that nobody really wants to deal with. So pre-packing can really help reduce the claim that you'll have and the amount that you might be out for that, because you've taken the time to group your things together. You've taken the time my kids have their piggy banks, and I take the time to wrap those in bubble wrap before they get packed, just to ensure for my own safety that, they're protected well. And then the biggest thing too is also having a good inventory. Inventory is like the binding document of your move. And so if it's not on that inventory, to the company, it didn't really exist. Now, they cannot write every little thing you own on that inventory. The lines aren't that big, but it's the difference between having a box that says kitchen items versus small kitchen appliances like blender, toaster, crock pot. So there's a variance of that. So it's just making sure that you have that good inventory and you're verifying it before you sign it. And then having your own inventory. If you have a big collection, have your own inventory, because if something should happen to it, you'll want to be able to back up, like I had 17 PlayStation 4 games and here's the list for them.
Dang. Well, since we're on the topic of claims, because we all know that we've had experience with claims, and if you haven't yet, well, get ready on board. But, it doesn't always have to be the horror story. Those horror stories exist, and it's not necessarily anything that you did, or, this process is being reformed, by the way, thanks to people like Megan. But claims are always a big topic for military families when they PCS. So what can a family do? What else can a family do to help make sure that their move either doesn't have a claim at all, or that if they do have a claim, that it goes smooth? Like, what can they do?
So a few things we've already discussed, like the pre-packing. Pre-packing can definitely help you document what you have. So I always say, walk around your house and take pictures. And take pictures of rooms from different angles so you can see, different things, different items that you have in your home. If for some reason something were to go missing, you can go through your item, go through those pictures, and you can say, hey, we used to have these 7 things on this shelf over here, and I haven't seen any of them. But you have a picture to prove that you did have them. So take pictures of all of your rooms. I always take pictures of all of our furniture and all of our high value items as well. So take those pictures, have your own inventory. If you have a collection, your high value items, things that mean something to you, have your own inventory to them. And while things, unless you do the high value inventory, things are not going to be listed specifically on your inventory, you can write in the notes, like, I have a buy list name of all of our PlayStation 4 games. I have a buy list name of the 200 million books that my husband has. And that will help you on the back end. If you should have to file a claim, you have that documentation. I also say, be involved in the process. This is your move. This is your stuff. Don't just sit on the couch and, be like, let me know if you have a question. I'll be, here watching live PD or, The Bachelor reruns or whatever. Be involved in the process. Walk around, talk with your I love small talking with people. I love getting to know people. So I will go and talk with our movers. Where are you from? How did you get involved with this? How long you've been doing this? Do you like it? Do you enjoy it? What would you change? Tell me about your family. Get to know them a little bit, but, be involved in the process. See how they're packing something. If you don't like how they're packing something, ask them about it. Make a suggestion on how you would prefer to have that packed, but be involved. Don't just let the bad move happen to you. Have that proactive approach to the process of it. And then, as we said before, the inventory that the moving company creates is the big thing. I see a lot of heartache that happens, especially on the furniture inventory, that is usually done on loading day. by the moving company or by the driver of the truck. And a lot of the issues is with the damage assessment codes. A lot of times you just see what looks like some, Secret Service spy code listed there. It says like SCBRSO, because it's scratched, bent, broken, dented, soiled, and whatnot, and you don't understand what those codes are. Slow down, review those codes, ask if you don't understand. It's okay to write on there that you do not agree with the assessment that they gave before you sign it. But again, that inventory, it's your binding document. So you need to make sure it's a thorough and accurate inventory.
It's interesting that you say that. I'm actually curious. If I were to sign my inventory list, if I were to say I don't agree,
Mm-hmm.
I don't agree, with this damage code or whatever, what does that do per se?
So you writing on there that you don't agree with that damage code protects you when you need to make a claim. So like I said, I take pictures of all my furniture, so I know what damage is there. So if they mark that my brand new kitchen chairs are scratched, dented, and broken, when I know they're not, and clearly looking at them that they're not, I will write on there that I do not agree with this assessment. On the delivery end, if my kitchen chairs show up broken, scratched, and dented, I'll take pictures of them and I'll file my claim. And because I wrote on there that I did not agree with their assessment and that I had pictures to prove it, I'll likely be able to get paid what I wanted to. But if you don't write on there that you don't agree, if you think it's wrong, like I said, that's what they go off of. So if you, just sign it blindly without checking it and your kitchen chairs show up dented, scratched, and broken, they're going to deny your claim and say, well, your inventory says that they were already dented, scratched, and broken, and you signed it, without noting any difference. So that's what we're holding to.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's talk PPM, formerly known as Diddy.
Yeah.
There's always a hot debate on PPMs. It is the hot debate. So some people believe that they are money makers and others are like, whatever, they're money breakers. So in that debate, what tips can you give to make sure to help give folks, some ideas on how to make their PPM a money maker versus a money breaker? What can they do?
So the more that you do yourself, the more money you will make. Obviously, if you hire people, that costs a lot of money. So if you can pack yourself, if you can ask a few neighbors to come over for some pizza to help load some heavy furniture, you'll save a lot of money versus hiring your own company to come and do that. So the more that you can do yourself, the more that you're obviously going to save. Some other ways to save some money on it, get some boxes and packing material from people. I see it all the time, and people saying, hey, we just moved in. I have a pile of boxes. Like if you're moving, let me know. I'll, open my garage and you can come and get them. So always, be open to maybe taking some boxes from other people. That'll save you. Boxes can be expensive, y'all. That packing material can be expensive. So if you're able to cut down on any of it, totally do it. I've seen people use their towels as packing material. They've used their blankets as like.
Oh yeah, when we interviewed Lonnie a few weeks ago, she was saying, "What are you going to do with your towels? Just use your towels. That's one less cost you got."
Oh yeah, you can use your throw pillows off your couch as some padding for other boxes. So definitely use materials you have in your house. But if you can, get boxes and other stuff from people, do it. It'll save you money as well. Another big thing is to know how much stuff you have, to know how big of a truck you're going to need, or to know how many pods you're going to have. There's nothing worse than thinking I only need 2 pods and then realizing you actually need 4 and having to call for more. Or that, you think you need the big 57-foot truck and then you realize, oh, I only needed the 26-foot truck. That's wasting money. So know how much stuff you have to know how many pods, how big of a truck you're going to need. And then for those that are hiring companies to move their stuff for them, either, through pods, through U-Pack, or hiring a straight up moving company to come handle it all, read your contract. Know if there are any hidden fees in your contract. Know what their business method and model and stuff is. We've seen a couple of instances recently about some shady companies. Those fly-by-night companies where they say we'll move you from New York to California for $900, and then they load you up and say, oh, it's actually going to be $10,000. So make sure if you're hiring a company, make sure they're certified. There are places you can go for that. You can go to the AMSA website or the IAM website. We'll drop those in the links below for you.
And what does AMSA and IAM stand for?
So AMSA is the American Moving and Storage Association, and IAM is the International Association of Movers. Those are the two big moving associations that Transcom deals with. And I have contacts at both of those places too that I can reach out to if needed. But they have places on their websites where you can go and find a company and you can see their certifications to know that they're a legit company. So make sure if you're hiring a company that they're legit, and then read your contract. Some contracts do it by weight, some does it by space. Know if for some reason you go over your weight, how much you're going to be charged per extra pound, or how much you'll be charged per extra cubic foot of space that your stuff takes. So know what those additional fees are, and have a little room in your budget to cover some of those extra fees as a just in case kind of deal.
Good tip. Okay, so first of all, thank you, Megan. We're going to get to your questions, and while we're asking these questions, we're going to go ahead and keep them coming, because my counterpart Stacy with PCS grades, she's sitting here in the back end and she's recording all your comments so that we can put your names in for the entry for the gift card. And while she's working on that, I'm going to start asking these questions. So let's see. Where did it go? Oh, here, we got a shout out. Hey, Jessica. She's fixing the PCS here soon herself. Okay, so, oh my goodness, there's so many. Okay, this one's a little long and it'll kind of cover up everything, but this is from Jamie. Hi, Jamie. She said, I'm a new military spouse, so I'm new to PCSing. I only have a very few stuff, just lots of clothes, electronics. I'm basically starting from scratch. We've all been there, by the way, Jamie. Let me tell you, I started off with an air mattress and a crib and a desk. That was it. Yeah, that was fun. That was fun. But we've all been there, I promise. So do I still need to get movers to ship my stuff, or should I drive to the state where we're moving and bring all of our stuff? So I think what she's asking, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jamie, and I'm hoping that I don't know, maybe, I'm sorry, Jamie, you may be a male, so I can't see your photo. So I apologize. Can you, Jamie, do you mean, should you move yourself, or should you do a military move? So I think that's what Jamie's asking.
Yeah, so you could do it either way. Since you have such a little bit amount of stuff, if it fits in your car, or if you just need to rent like a small little U-Haul to fit the rest of it, you can totally take it yourself. That's called a PPM, personally procured move, which is the new language for the previous, what was called Diddy, do-it-yourself move. You can totally do that, or you could hire, have the military contract movers for you. So it's totally a personal choice with what you want to do. Whichever way you want to do it, you still have to go into DPS. You still have to set up your move. You can set it up as a military move, household goods move, or you can set it up as a PPM for yourself. If you set it up as a PPM, just keep in mind you still need to get counseled by the local transportation office, and you're going to need certified weight tickets of your vehicle, empty and full, so you can be reimbursed for the weight of your stuff that you're moving. But you can totally do it either way. It's just going to be a personal choice of what you're comfortable with and how much control you want to have of the process.
All right. And then Lizzy has two questions. First is, do you walk around and mark boxes with specifics? I think she means by specific items. Would you?
Yeah, so I do. So I do a number of things with marking boxes. So first I do the room labels. I do our stamp with our contact info, and then I look at how they're marking the boxes for the contents. Some things I'll be okay with, some things I'm not. So like in my kitchen, if they just write kitchen items, I'll ask them, what did you put in this box? And I'll write down whatever they tell me. So it's your Tupperware, it's some of your whatever, I'll write that on the box so I know that that box contains that. Because if I'm going to do a partial unpack and I say, hey, I want my kitchen unpacked, I want my dishes unpacked so I can start washing them. I want my cookware unpacked so I can start cooking. I want my silverware unpacked so we can be able to eat, not with plastic forks anymore. I want my cups unpacked. I want my coffee mug so I can have my coffee to be able to get through the rest of the unpacking.
Amen.
So I do, depending on how it is that they label things. I also try to make it easy where I will also take colored tape on some things, and I will boxes that I know I want to have opened, unpacked. We always usually do a partial unpack. So anything I want to have opened at delivery, I put a little piece of colored tape on there. So that way I can be able to say, like, the boxes with the green piece of tape, I would like those opened, please. And they know then, what to do.
Okay. And Lizzy also wants to know if you separate things in trash bags.
It depends on what it is I'm putting in there. So stuffed animals, I put all the stuffed animals in a large trash bag. So bonus points if you use like Glade scented trash bags, your stuff will smell fresh when it arrives.
Good tip.
Also, don't be afraid to throw in like a dryer sheet in there too, a scented dryer sheet, because that also helps as well if you don't have the Glade scented trash bags. So I don't put a lot of things in trash bags. I put our hanging clothes because I use the trash bags kind of like garment bags. I use our stuffed animals into there. I think I did at a time put I have a lot of pillows, y'all. I enjoy comfy items. I have at times put some of our throw pillows into trash bags to protect them. So it just depends on what you have and how you want things protected. But don't be afraid to use, trash bags, Ziploc bags, things like that as a means of protecting your items or keeping things together.
Speaking of which, Katie, hi, Katie. Katie would like to know how you keep your mattresses and box springs clean.
So I have
good question.
What are they called? Mattress covers. They're kind of like a vinyl plastic mattress cover that you slip it on your mattress and it zips at one end. I got it from Walmart for like $7. I put one on our mattress and I put one on our box spring. Now your moving company should be bringing you a mattress bag, like a big giant bag, or a mattress box to put your mattress into. But I like the mattress covers because it's another layer of keeping them clean. Got you.
And also Jamie commented, she's a she. So good call. And she said that she already submitted her application to DPS website, and there's already a counselor. However, they haven't contacted us yet. And depending on when that's all been done, what's the time frame you think that she should be looking at?
Usually, depending on how quickly you're moving, a week to 2 weeks. Now, I know a lot of transportation offices are still remote working, and some of their call forwarding isn't working. So don't hesitate, if you wanted to get the ball rolling on things, to reach out by email. If you go to move.mil and then hit the customer service tab, you can put in your zip code and it'll give you the contact info for your transportation office. So you can totally email them, reach out and say, hey, we submitted, we want to do a PPM move, what do we need to do next? And they should be able to send you forms that you'll need to read through and sign and whatnot. But yeah, give them a week or two as they are going through and processing their applications, but don't hesitate to reach out if you need that level of comfort.
Word. And Jamie, let us know if if it's just radio silence and you just need somebody to, shoot you that email or shoot guidance. We'll help you out. Yeah, just message us and we'll look you up. Yeah. And then we've got, Beverly. Hi, Beverly. And I see that I've seen your name a lot up in here. So is there any tips on stacking bags in a moving truck without damaging items?
What do you mean by what kind of bags are we stacking?
I'm assuming, Beverly, are you doing a PPM? You're moving yourself. I'm thinking that she means stacking bags in a moving truck. Like if you have like trash, like if I were to put all of the stuffed animals or just, stuff that's not.
If you're doing a PPM and moving yourself, that's totally on you, depending on what you have in there. soft things like your pillows and your stuffed animals and things like that, you can toss them on top of the box piles. It's not going to get broke. That's totally a personal preference. Now, if it's a military moving company, I would suggest not at all.
She's moving herself from Florida to Washington.
Yeah, so in that case, it's totally personal preference. If you want to put all the stuffed animals into a trash bag and just toss it on the truck that way, it's you packing it, so you know how it's done. It should be totally fine. But for anybody else, if you're having a military moving company move you, everything should, like if you trash bag stuffed animals, that should definitely be in a box.
Word. And then we got a question here from Jessica. What up again? Any tips for moving guns, safes, and or weapons?
So military movers can move those things. It's not a problem. There is some regulations, stuff in the DTR that you should read through if you want them to move it.
And we'll drop that in the link, right? We can
yeah, absolutely. My suggestion is if it's possible for you to move firearms with you, that you should do everything possible to be able to do that. My family does that. Part of that's because me and my husband are a little bit paranoid with our firearms and letting other people have control of them. There are, like I said, regulations, policies in place for how that should be done. If they're moving the gun safe and it's empty, you're going to need to open it, let them see that it's empty so they can mark it as empty, and then you'll be able to close it back up. But yeah, if you can move your firearms yourself, I would do that. Look at the route that you're traveling. Do a quick Google search on what those states' regulations are for transporting of firearms. From my general knowledge, I believe as long as your firearm is in one location out of arm's reach and your ammo is in a separate container or bag out of arm's reach, not in the same location as your firearm, then you are okay and good to go. I do believe New Jersey, if you enter that state with ammo or firearm or any piece of that, then you can easily be arrested and put in jail. Because
does that mean that families who are carrying items such as firearms should create a detour?
Avoid New Jersey.
Yikes.
So from my understanding, New Jersey is not a firearm friendly state. And so that's why. So if you have to go to New Jersey, don't have your firearms with you. And everything. But if you're at all able to take them with you, I always suggest taking them with you.
All right. Another one from Beverly. Beverly, you are on fire, sweetheart. I love this. Do they offer full value on damaged claims?
So, yes. So the way the regulation is written is if you have to file a claim, it should be full replacement value. There are times where a company may offer you less and they're calling it a repair cost and everything, which is totally okay for them to do. If it can be repaired, they'll pay the repair cost. And as a customer, you have the choice to either accept them coordinating having it repaired or accepting the repair cost they're offering for you to repair it yourself. But it's either full replacement value, repair, or repair cost.
Okay. All these questions are awesome. Oh, you know what? And this is great. This just goes to show this too. Brittany, thank you for Brittany. This is awesome. Our last move, we had 13 boxes that went missing, and having the documents to prove what we were missing really helps when we filed our claims. So this is absolutely, Brittany, is a testimony of document. Shout out, Brittany. Good call. So here's one. Is there a way to double check reputable shipping companies for cars? So we have a vehicle. We need to ship from Kansas to Washington. Got one bid. It's only a bid, and they can't even guarantee they'll make our window. So where can they go to look up reputable shipping companies for cars or vehicles?
Honestly, I don't know. That's the first time I've ever been asked that. And
no, that's good.
Have a good answer for you. I know if you're not already in our group Lost During My PCS, go join that group. We'll get you approved. There's a couple questions just to answer. I'm not 100% sure on that. I know several people in that group have shipped their vehicles. If you ask that question in the group, you'll get some good word of mouth referrals for companies that other people have used. And I will see what I can do about trying to see if there's a list somewhere.
Yes. Additionally, Megan and I are going to hit the book. See, this is one of the few times where we say every time we're going to answer your questions. If we don't know the answer, we know who does. And if we don't know either of those things, we're taking it for action. So M, we've got your number. We're going to take that for action.
Yes.
Great question. Really, honestly, great question.
I feel stumped now. I don't know.
Okay, you've totally done the impossible, but it's only going to be momentary because she's going to go hard on the research the second we're off of this. I can guarantee you that. Okay, so Beverly has another question about moving long travel moves with animals. Oh, sister honey, I feel you right now. Fur babies can be just as temperamental as human babies.
So we have 3 fur babies ourselves. We have a dog and we have 2 cats, and we have done we haven't done coast to coast yet, but we have had some long moves. So this is what we do. For packing days, we board our pets. Again, that's another expense that, your DLA can cover, or you can have a garage sale, save some money for that, work it into your budget, but we will board our pets when our packing process starts. That way our pets are out of the way. They are taken care of. We can have the doors open with people going in and out as we need. We can get our house cleaned without having our pets there. We're not having to worry about hotel fees and getting to and from the hotel to, walk our dog or anything like that. So we will board our pets at our current location to get that done with. When we travel in the car with them, God bless my husband, he takes the pets all in his vehicle and 2 of our kids, and it's just me and my daughter and mine. But so he takes the pets in his car. We will stop periodically to be able to walk our dog and let him out. My cats are weird. My cats don't want to use the litter box, and they don't want to eat, and they don't want to do anything until we are settled for the night. So we don't really worry too much about them. When we have to stop for gas, for bathrooms, for food or any of that, we kind of tag team. Usually me and my daughter will go use the bathroom, get our food, come back to the cars and whatnot, so my husband can leave his car running with the air conditioning or for the heat for our animals, depending on the season. And he takes our boys and takes them into the bathroom and to get their food. And during the time that me and my daughter are in, he's walking our dog. So that way that piece is already done. Then obviously overnights in the hotel, we take in all the pet stuff, the litter box, the food bowls, all that stuff. And when we get to our gaining location, we look for a vet right away or a boarding place right away. And we do the same thing. We board them again so we can get our stuff delivered and whatnot. We have had times where we have chosen not to board. And during those cases, I have, with my wonderful door signs, a big sign that says cats are in this room, enter at your own risk. They have, stranger anxiety. One of my cats will draw blood. He doesn't like people he doesn't know. So we put those signs on the door and we kind of block the door and we tell the packers, hey, stay out of that room. We get these other rooms done today. I'll move the cat over there in the morning, and then you'll be able to pack that room tomorrow. And we've never had an issue with that. But your pets, your animals, what they need. If you have dogs, when they need to be walked, how often. If you have cats or other things, how they need to be handled as well.
And it doesn't hurt too to ask their vet on the vet you have. Because, it's not just about, they don't go to the vet just for their physical health. Dude, animals get depressed too.
Yeah.
I have a dog that proves that to me every day. Oh, you're not playing with me. And I'm like, I'm working. Well, look at me. I'm going to sit on your computer until you look at me.
And animals with their anxiety, they travel better when they can be a little sedated, a little drugged up, because they're not having to deal with the whole whatever else is going on in the world kind of deal. So your pets, your vet knows your pet, talk to them if you have concerns about long distance travel. But for dogs, take breaks, walk them, let them out, have a water bowl for them. for your cat. I mean, when we first got our cats, I have so many funny stories for y'all. When we first got our cat and I was moving from Kansas, we were driving back to West Virginia and we took our cat with us. And, he wouldn't, I would stop and everything to try to let him have some food and water, and he didn't want it. I would stop and try to let him, I'd got out the litter box in this rest stop, put a little litter in it, put him in it. He would not go. He would just lay on my lap, and I would rub a piece of ice on him to keep him like cooled down because it was just so hot. And he felt like this little, drowned rat sitting in my lap. But then we realized, our cat does not care about traveling very well. So if we just let him in our car, he goes and finds his little spot underneath the back seat, and he's good. He knows when we, stop and we say, "Come here, Fritzy," he perks right up and he comes out and he knows we're done for the night and he can go stretch out in a hotel room somewhere. So, just know your cats and what they can handle. If you have anything other than a cat and a dog, I can't help you. That's all we've ever moved. I get asked, how do I move my snake or my fish?
Okay, so and if any of you actually have any exotic animals that you are asking about, my daughter is she grew up wanting to be a herpetologist, and so we have moved with many snakes, lizards, things that most people would be afraid of, that my daughter's like, look what I got. Yeah. So if you have any questions about moving exotic pets, you can definitely hit me up at PCS Grades. We have 2 more questions, and then we're going to get to that wheel of names. The first one is going to be Victoria. Shout out, Victoria. Will movers load boxes and furniture from 2 locations, like a storage unit and an apartment?
Absolutely. They absolutely will. We've done that same scenario a time or 2 before as well. The thing you need to know is that you need to set it up as a pickup from 2 locations when you set up your move-in DPS, so they are aware of it. And then when you get assigned your TSP and you talk to your move coordinator, verify it with them again, and remind them hey, I have our apartment plus our storage unit. Now, the caveat about storage units, it can go one of any number of ways. Sometimes moving crews show up, and they just take things as they are. Let them know if, you're going to need things repacked in that storage unit, or if it's like a good to go kind of storage unit. So give them that information, but they will absolutely pick up from 2 locations. You just got to set it up as a pickup from 2 locations, and then just, re-verify with them through the process that there are 2 locations.
Awesome. And then last question is from Jennifer. Hey, Jennifer, how's it going? Any good tips for a short distance move? We'll be moving 2.5 hours down the road. First of all, I'm jealous. That's number 1. Number 2, count your blessings. And number 3, Megan, go.
Wow.
I know, we never get questions like this. This doesn't happen often.
So we had a possibility at one point in our career where we were going to be moving maybe an hour down the road, and we were only moving an hour because where the other location was, and I just didn't want my husband to have such a long commute. Otherwise, we would have stayed where we were. For us, when we were having that possibility, we were just going to do a PPM and do it ourselves because it was such a short distance. So it's really going to be a personal preference for you as to what you want to do. With it only being 2.5 hours away, if timed right, you could let the military move you and set it up as a door-to-door. If they can, load up, depending on how much stuff you have, they can load up, during the morning of Wednesday and drive the 2.5 hours and download it that afternoon. It could easily be done. But for that, I really think it just depends on how much stuff you have. How much control do you want over it? What are you comfortable with? If the military moves you, is storage going to be involved? And how do you feel about your stuff possibly going into storage? How quickly are you getting into a house on your gaining location to be able to set it up as a door-to-door? So there's a couple different things you got to think about in there as to whether it'd be beneficial to do a PPM or to let the military move you.
Good call. Okay. So while I am populating these names, Megan, can you go ahead and talk to us about some of the resources and some of the links that we're going to be dropping into dropping into the comments?
Yeah, so some resources to know, and as MJ said, we're going to put all these links in the comments here when we get done. I've got them all on my phone, so I can just copy and paste them in there. The DTR, Defense Travel Regulation, that is your governing regulation for all of your moves. 2 things in there that I always suggest you knowing is Appendix B, which is the tender of service. That is basically the contract between the moving companies and the government. So knowing what is in there kind of helps you set up for good expectations of what to expect from your company. The second piece of the DTR to know is Attachment K1. So that is the document that's often referred to as the It's Your Move document. It's kind of like Transcom's little cheat sheet sort of deal of what you kind of need to know about the process. It has in there, talking about like your weight allotments, your code gear, how to move if you have, firearms, boats, motorhomes, motorcycles. That document kind of lays out, how that stuff goes. It also kind of lays out your responsibilities and then your TSP's responsibilities during the process as well. We're also going to drop the link to the liability claims business rules, where everything you need to know about your claim is going to be in there. High value items often get asked a lot. That document addresses what is considered high value and how the claims process should go. So that way you know what to expect if that happens for you. And then we're also going to drop the links for AMSA, the American Moving and Storage Association, that we talked about being able to find a reputable company on. And then also for the International Association of Movers, for them as well. Those are 2 locations that you can go to be able to find a reputable moving company if you want to do a PPM of any sort of fashion for yourself. And then the last thing we're going to drop into the comments links to is also to the updated update from the DoD about the stop move and the green list and the memo that was released by Secretary of Defense Esper regarding that. So those are the things we're going to drop in the comments as soon as we get off of here. I'll drop the links too for the products that we talked about too, so you guys can easily go back and find them if you want to use them.
Like the labels and stuff?
The labels, the flex totes, the personalized stamp that I use makes it easy. I mean, listen, y'all, my last little tip, personalized stamp for your boxes. This little bad boy, I mean, listen, your last name isn't changing, your phone number isn't changing, your email isn't changing unless you just change things all the time. But those things are generally the same for you. So I have a stamp, it's got our name, both of our phone numbers and email on it. And this goes on the box right next to our room labels on the box. So that way, if a box goes missing, they can easily contact you. I mean, if I have a box shows up and it's not mine, but I got, Sarah Beth's phone number and email, I'm going to call her and say, hey girl, I got a box of your linens here at my house in Texas. Where do you live at? I'll ship it to you.
That is fantastic.
So I'll drop the links to all those products for you. Y'all can go take a look and have a field day and decide how you want to pre-pack too.
Word. Thank you so much, Megan. I've learned so much. Where the heck were you all my moves ago? I mean, for Pete's sake.
In my bubble.
In your what? In your what?
In my bubble.
Your bubble. So I'm going to go ahead and we have 11 names. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to share my screen with you so I can show you our names. All right. Come on, technology, work with me. Screen sharing easy. Screen share. Entire screen. I'm talking to you. Yay! Okay, are you ready? Is everybody ready?
Yes. Let's see it.
You see it? Is it up?
It's up.
Let's get a drum roll, please. Here we go. Lizzy Haynes.
Yay. Congrats, Lizzy.
Congrats. All right.
I'm a little jealous. I want a $100 gift card too.
Yeah, right? Well, too bad you are the SME. I mean, I think
I mean, I could do some good damage with a $100 Amazon gift card. I mean,
okay, so here's the thing. It's not Amazon. We're either going to do Amazon or Visa gift card, and we're going to leave that up to Lizzy. There's Lizzy.
Yeah.
Can I get some love for Lizzy? Everybody do the heart thing.
Woo-hoo.
And okay, so what we'll do, Lizzy, if you could, so Stacy, could you go ahead and put up my email address, pretty please? So Lizzy, go ahead and reach out, email me at mj.boyce@pcsgrades.com. And of course, if anybody else just wants to shoot the stuff or has a question, you can hit me up there as well. But congratulations. Let us know. Email us with your contact information so that we can go ahead and get that to you straight away. And Megan, thank you for all these tips and tricks. Again, I wish you were with me, walking me through all of these things. And let me just say, we've got a ton of feedback. Thank you for the tips. We've actually got other people who left tips in here as well that are just as valuable. If you're watching the replay, hit us up. What was that, Megan?
No, I said there were so many good tips in here that people are dropping as well. So yeah.
Exactly. And that's how we do things. We help each other. That's what PCS grades is about anyways, because it's for us, by us, right? And so anyways, I want to thank you for being with us today, and I hope you'll join us next week. Every Wednesday at 2 for the foreseeable future, you will see this mug and Megan's. But until then, this too shall PCS. Bye, everyone.
Bye.